Right.
Okay, let's start. So hopefully at 8 o'clock we'll be done.
Oh yeah.
You're funny.
Dream
My-
on,
my-
Amanda.
Okay,
Dream on.
Okay,
let's
let me
mute
make an
ourselves.
announcement.
Okay, let's mute ourselves or we will mute you. Okay. So good evening, everyone. Welcome to Community Board 13's April full board meeting. Anything that is said at this meeting is being recorded, is also being live streamed. Anything that's in the chat can be foiled. So please be very cautious as to how you act and how you and what you write in the chat. With that being said, this evening I have the pleasure of having Zanera, my second vice chair, run the meeting. So please welcome Zanera, and I'm sure she'll do a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
You got it, girl.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending. I wanted to first introduce the first thing on our agenda, which is a presentation on New Destiny housing at Ravenhall Apartments. The presentation will be made by Molly Olson.
Yeah, hi. Thank
Hi,
you.
Molly.
Hi. It is a pleasure to be introduced and to meet everybody. I'm just going to do a quick introduction on New Destiny Housing and then pass it off to Marcus Galloway, who is our program director at Ravenhall in Coney Island. So New Destiny Housing, if you haven't heard of us, we're kind of small and growing nonprofit that owns and builds housing specifically for survivors of domestic violence, usually moving out of domestic violence shelter or fleeing abuse. We are newly in Coney Island. We are mostly in the Bronx, and we have one building in Jamaica and one building in Bed-Stuy. So this is our first foray into South Brooklyn and into Coney Island itself. So on site, we provide programming and services to make sure that the stability of survivors of domestic violence is ongoing and permanent, and this is their permanent house moving forward. And so Ravenhall is right next to Luna Park. You might notice it. It is one of those brand new buildings. Half of them are set aside for DV survivors and half go on the lottery website. So I'll be mindful of time and I'll pass it off to Marcus, who is leading the team and having services in the building.
All right. How's everybody doing? I'm Marcus Galloway, kind of new to Coney Island. I just started coming out here since start working at this building. So we are at the big gray building on Surf Ave, right next to the baseball stadium. We actually did ribbon cutting a couple weeks ago. It was pretty nice. So as Molly said, there's 216 units in the building. We set 77 aside for people who experience domestic violence. It could be men, it could be women. So in our building, we encourage our tenants to become a member of the community. And that's why we come to events like this, to understand like what resources are in the community and how they can become like positive parts of Coney Island. So inside of our building, as Molly said, we offer different supports to the people in the building. So some of these are, let me see, we offer counseling for adults and children as well, employment coaching for the tenants, work readiness programs, public benefits management, children's programming, family activities, social events for the people in our buildings, workshops on various topics, and then referrals to members of the community. So although the services and supports we offer are for the tenants inside the building, the last portion of referrals in the community, that's where we kind of ingratiate ourselves with everyone else. So we make sure that we know everyone in the community. We make sure we're a part of the community so that when we have tenants who need services and supports that we might not be able to offer, we know exactly who we could reach out to make sure that these people get the things that they need. And like I said, that they're positive members of the community. So that's pretty much what we're doing here. I've been walking around the neighborhood a little bit, got to know a few people. I'm not sure if it's anybody on here, but everybody's been very welcoming. Oh, Eddie Mark, I met you. You seem like a great person. everyone's been very welcoming. And so that's been very helpful for like myself and my staff and also the people in the building. So I'm really excited to get to know everyone, to work with everyone, to collaborate with everyone. So like I said, I haven't been coming out to Coney Island long, but it seems like a very welcoming and nice and fun place. So I really do appreciate the open arms and the welcomeness that I've felt so far.
Yeah, thank you all for inviting us and Eddie for having us present. We'll put our contact information in the chat. So if anybody has questions now or wants to reach out or connect with us for programming on site, that would be great. Thanks.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I appreciate it, guys.
Does anyone have any questions? They can raise their hand or put it in the chat or let us know.
Just welcome, guys.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
No?
All right.
Okay, well, thank you. We really
All right.
appreciate you attending Community Board 13. I would like to next call Alan Newman.
Hi, good evening, everyone. How are you? I'm Alan Newman. I'm the property manager for what is referred to as the Seaside Park Community Arts Center, which includes the Coney Island Amphitheater, the Old Child's Restaurant, the Boardwalk and Vine Lounge on top of Child's Restaurant, and the Seaside Park, as well as the parking lot. It's actually a really nice segue. Molly and Marcus, yes, welcome to the neighborhood, because although you are right next to Maimonides Park, you are also right next to Seaside Park Community Arts Center, which is the Coney Island Amphitheater. And we should definitely talk about making, getting you familiar with what takes place at the Coney Island Amphitheater, so that your residents, particularly your special residents, know that they're welcome at the Coney Island Amphitheater for the list of shows. Eddie, thank you for asking me to speak tonight. Just want to give everybody a very brief update on what's going on the property. The Coney Island Amphitheater, formerly the Ford Amphitheater, now the Coney Island Amphitheater, will be hosting 6 to 10 paid shows as produced by Live Nation, and 6 free shows as produced by Summer Stage and City Parks Foundation and iStar, my client. And right now we're just starting our season with approximately 32 graduations, serving the middle school, junior high schools, high schools, and some of the colleges in and around our area in South Brooklyn. We'll have 32 of those graduations, which will take us through the end of June. Live Nation season will start on or about July 9th, and that will run likely through September, as it has done in the past. There'll be some other community events that we will host as well, besides, of course, the free shows, which I mentioned. The Summer Stage website will be able to update you on what the free shows are and when. Or you could go to seasideparkconeyisland.com and get that same information. seasideparkconeyisland.com. As for the restaurant, it has been closed while Live Nation and I and iStar look for a new operator. We believe we have found one. Negotiations are done. Now everything is being papered, as they say, and we expect to have that restaurant open, let's say Memorial Day, the very latest, July 4th, and be back open to serve the community with a full menu. And this year we're actually contemplating dividing the space into 2, so that the restaurant on the roof, which we call Boardwalk and Vine right now, name perhaps to be changed, that will be open all season long, and the restaurant will have a separate menu, maybe with smaller, shorter business hours. That is all I have to say, but of course, welcome to answer any questions.
Thank you, Alan. Please raise your hand if you have any questions or put it in the chat. Lucy and then Barbara.
Hi, Alan, welcome. Nice to see you again.
Hey, how are you?
You mentioned that you believe that you have a new, in the works of a new operator. Would you be able to disclose that information to us and what exactly would be the operation there? We've been hearing rumors, that's why.
Let me say this to address those rumors. We are talking to a first-class restaurant operator who runs a 3-star, maybe 4-star restaurant in downtown Manhattan. And the reason I'm being just a little shady and not answering directly is the deal's not signed yet, and I don't want to jinx it. But let's just say that if this deal goes through, it will be the most successful restaurant operator that has ever operated this restaurant before, since Childs, back in 1923 when the restaurant first opened. And they will be running a first-class establishment that will offer fine dining as well as casual dining.
And one more follow-up with that, and I apologize. Would you be able to give us a time bracket as to when that will be, you think it will be determined?
I spoke to them today. Everyone's aiming to have something signed by May 1st, which I think
That's close. Okay.
yes, it is, which is why, yep, maybe.
Okay. So May 1st, and I'm sorry that I'm taking too much time. This is just a couple of questions. May 1st, and if everything goes well, when are they, if you did mention this, I apologize. When are they looking to start operations?
I would want to make sure that the rooftop restaurant, which by the way has a separate kitchen, there are 2 kitchens in the facility. The main dining room, right off the boardwalk, the main entrance. That is a kitchen. Then there's a separate kitchen up on the roof. So we're hoping to at least get the rooftop open by Memorial Day weekend.
So with that, now another follow-up with that, guys, I'm sorry, but there is follow-up. So they would have to come, they will be serving liquor, I'm assuming, a whole OP?
There's a bar.
OP. So,
Yep, that's correct.
so you need to move quickly in order to come to us.
Exactly. Yes, Lucy,
Okay.
that's an excellent question. We need to come quickly to you, although I believe that the former operator still holds the license there. That might help speed things up, but nonetheless, we need to bring it to community board. No question.
Okay, so when you say the former, is that form, I'll just ask this last question and then I'll wait till they come to us, but do you have any idea if the former owner will be requesting to transfer the existing license to the new owner?
That's my understanding, yes.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lucy. I appreciate the questions.
Barbara?
Hi, Alan.
Hi, Barbara.
I wanted to know, do the Coney schools get preference for the graduation?
Short answer, yes. However, that preference really extends to any of the schools in South Brooklyn.
So there is no preference for Coney schools? They're just as equal as others in
Let me
terms
say
of getting
this,
spots?
Barbara, let me say this. We haven't turned away anybody. There is not a school that I've not been able to find time for on our calendar anywhere in Southern Brooklyn, which is why 32 schools. So if they want to graduate at the Coney Island Amphitheater, we've gone so far as to work out a system where we're doing on some days 4 graduations a day. The first one at 9 a.m., the last one at 7 p.m. So we're doing everything that we can to make the venue available, not only to Coney Island, but to all of South Brooklyn. And I think we have 1 or 2 schools in Lower Manhattan as well who want to take advantage of not only the beautiful setting and the boardwalk, but the open air, the fact that we're covered but outside, which is unique in the city of New York.
Yeah, we thank Marty Markowitz for that. What about,
I do every day, Barbara.
yeah, me too, honey. That's a different discussion. Okay, so also what I wanted to know is in terms of how did you advertise this for the graduations being there?
Oh, that is strictly word of mouth. But look, I'll be frank with you. I'm a product of public schools. I'm born and bred New Yorker, public schools all the way until I got to college. And when a public school calls, I take the call, and if they need a little help because they don't have the same money that a private school is going to have, I make sure that they get that help, and I make sure that the Coney Island Amphitheater is available to them. And again, with 32 schools, I can rattle off, we got Dyker Heights, we got Abraham Lincoln, I got Murrow. I mean, we got schools from all within our community and just outside.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I don't see any other hands unless someone else has a question.
Thank you all very much.
I had a question in the chat.
Oh,
Hi, Alan.
Hi there.
Just a quick question. Is the Coney Island Amphitheater a nonprofit or a for-profit organization?
it's a for-profit organization. Right now, it's a for-profit organization. Yes.
Okay, and could you drop your contact information in the chat? And thank
You got it. I'll put it in right now.
All right, thank you, Alan. Really
Thank you.
appreciate your updates and presentation. Going now into the public session, I want to recognize Councilman Kagan to speak and answer any questions.
Thank you, Senora. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to say that my condolences to the family of firefighter Timothy Klein and the entire city of New York. He lost his life while saving other lives. And we even learned it now that during his off time, he helped to build ramps to help people with disabilities. So he was an amazing person, and I would like to acknowledge him and to say that we lost a true hero. Also, I would like to say that in the last several weeks, from the beginning of my term, I tried to contact every possible city commissioner to learn more about new commissioners and to learn more what they can offer to Coney Island and to the entire southern Brooklyn. Some of these meetings already started. Just several days ago, I had a chance to meet Economic Development and Corporation President Andrew Kimball. That was April 12th meeting. And we talked about three important topics: fate of Coney Island Ferry, fate of Shore Theater, and the fate of Abe Stark Ice Rink. All of these three topics are very important, not just for the future of Coney Island, but for the future of entire southern Brooklyn. And I immediately told Andrew Kimball that I would like to meet him in Manhattan so we can travel the whole distance to Coney Island on a vessel. And he agreed to this. It was his team from Economic Development Corporation. And we not just traveled by this vessel to Coney Island Creek, but also to the ocean side, so we can see both sides of the discussion and arguments. And I shared with him a lot of concern that I heard from community board and from people in the community about ferry. And he and his team promised to come back very soon with all numbers, studies, to do additional studies. I know EDC is planning to come to community board, I believe in May, just to do another presentation. And probably by July 1st will be even more facts and numbers before any kind of decision would be made. So far, no decision was made. And we need to learn more about costs, about pro and cons of both sides of the argument. So that was the idea of the whole trip. I would say that since ferry staff started to be built up over there. Some significant changes happened in terms of sand. Mother Nature cannot wait, so it's even more sand now around this location. So in order to start ferry, it should be even more dredging than before. That's, of course, additional concerns as well. And of course, every contractor or anybody who will do improperly should be punished. I know one contractor was fired, but again, there is no final decision so far was made. And on another side of the ocean, though it was a calm day on that day, but still there was a strong wind, and it was obvious that it was a pretty dangerous location. Though again, I asked for more studies and for more facts and more numbers. So all numbers and facts will be presented later on to community board. And in fact, I asked Andrew Campbell to make a town hall in Coney Island, so the entire community would have a chance to ask all possible questions about ferry. That would be fair and equitable, I would say. Second issue is a short theater, which is rotten for almost 45 years. And it's owned by private company, but EDC also has a role. They will connect anyone who wants to develop the site and to keep as a landmark. Maybe they can facilitate with banks, because before the pandemic, it was a discussion between one particular developer and Chase Bank to build multi-level modern hotel over there with retail stores on the first floor. But because of the pandemic, this deal fell off. And in terms of Abe Stark, I told Andrew Campbell that for many years, community asked for a multi-level, multi-purpose community center, recreational center, with free services to everyone, with no membership, no monthly membership. And he told me also that he will come back with more numbers and how much it will cost. And I will continue to push administration, because Coney Island needs a community center, recreational center, especially for young folks, but for seniors as well. Second important topic is, of course, boardwalk. And I was with Eddie Mark, community board manager, when Mary Marr, Brooklyn Parks Commissioner, invited Susan Donahue, I believe her name, newly appointed New York City Parks Commissioner. But at that particular meeting, conversation about boardwalk did not happen. And then, like I said, I still need a conversation about it. It's very important. I asked for a conversation with Parks, with Mayor, with Chief of Staff of the Mayor, with EDC. So yesterday, by invitation from Brooklyn Parks Commissioner Mary Marr, I did a tour of the boardwalk, though I know boardwalk very well. I was there many, many, many times in my life. And I know that it's very painful what's going on. It was abandoned for many years. And to the stage when the city is paying millions of dollars to victims of the boardwalk instead of paying to repair this boardwalk. So Brooklyn Parks Commissioner Mary Marr showed me the entire boardwalk. I was with Janine Kiriketti from my office from the beginning till the end of the boardwalk and back. Talked to carpenters. As you know, my predecessor, council member Mark Krieger, allocated money for additional carpenter. But carpenters is just like patch on a problem. They're doing here and there, but it's not solved the entire problem. And only today I finally received final decision by mayor that this $114.5 million that Councilman Traeger allocated last year, finally they're coming to the account of Brooklyn Parks Department. So the stage of planning and design is just started. Again, the decision was not made at all. And whatever would be the plan or the design should come to the community board, should come to the community, should be approved by everybody. It's not my decision, it's not Parks' decision, it's a community decision. And also, Brooklyn Parks Commissioner and New York City Parks Commissioner invited me and council member Inna Vernikova to visit Rockaway Beach, where boardwalk was fully restored after Superstorm Sandy. So we are going there on Monday. So before making any decisions again, It will be up to community board, up to community members. It's not going to be my decision or even mayor's decision because, but the only thing is money is there. At this point, not all the money, it's just again, $140.5 million. But according to Marimar, it's hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars required, possibly $600 million. He explained to me yesterday that it's not just boardwalk itself, it's the entire infrastructure, including lifeguard stations, including comfort stations, including electricity, water, fountains, even passages to the boardwalk, and so on and so on. So that's why so much money. It's not just boardwalk itself. So that was the story behind numbers. So also finally is NYCHA. I got confirmation from chair of NYCHA, Greg Russ. On June 10th, he's finally visiting NYCHA. Will visit particularly Coney Island site 4 and 5. Will talk to Surfside residents who are suffering without cooking gas for almost 10 months already. He will also visit, I saw the calendar, graves and houses. And I would love representatives of community board also to be at that meeting. That's a visit by Greg Russ, chairperson of New York City Housing Authority. And he agreed to this because, again, I pushed very hard through City Council and through Federal Monitor to make NYCHA accountable for disrepairs. And I do not accept the argument that for every issue, every problem NYCHA has, we need $40 billion. Sometimes we need just accountability and more responsiveness to tenants' concerns. I would be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, Councilman. So please raise your hand if you have questions. We're a little short on time. I'll call on Lucy first and then Ida.
Actually, I'll be last.
Okay, Ida and then Rob.
With all due respect, Councilman, there has been a pattern emerging lately of private meetings when it comes to shoreline issues. Instead of a community board person being part of these meetings, it just turns out to be agencies and elected officials. And according to the New York City Mayor's Community Affairs Unit, it says, and I quote, "Any issue that affects part or all of a community, from a traffic problem to deteriorating housing, is a proper concern of community boards. Having a town hall meeting after the fact is not the same as having a member of the community board present during these private meetings." And this isn't the first time. And regarding construction of the boardwalk, I may be crazy, but as far as I can remember, several months ago, the Parks Department told us they had pretty much settled on the design of the boardwalk portion they were going to repair in the West 20s. And they were going to do it as concrete slab with plastic overlay. And perhaps you're not aware that there has never been a study of different boardwalk materials and how they react to storm surge damage. Because I posted photos today showing parts of Rockaway Boardwalk after Hurricane Sandy where their concrete lifted up. Okay, and in this section, there were no buildings adjacent to the boardwalk. Where we live, we have buildings on top of the boardwalk. So if these concrete sections lift up, they batter our buildings, our residences, and our offices. So this is something Marty Martin might not know because he doesn't live on top of the boardwalk, but we know it because we live here. And regarding the ferry, okay, $70,000 in fines have already been levied against EDC and the contractors because they willfully ignored the conditions in the permit that was supposed to protect the health of the residents in this community. And the residents in this community found those violations. The residents of this community might not be experts in shoreline engineering, but they sure knew that when they saw something, it wasn't right. And it was the residents of this community that took the photos and submitted it to the agencies, showing that they were purposely releasing contaminants into the waterway. And by the way, I got a shakedown call from one of the contractors on that job, because somehow EDC, I believe, forwarded him an email, okay, with my name on it. And it was an attempt to intimidate me and frighten me into keeping my mouth shut. Well, that's not going to happen. Okay, so this is what is going on down here. And this is what is going on behind all of our backs. They do these little public relations tours. They point a beautiful little picture. We told them about that sand problem years ago. Charlie Denson told them, sent them a letter about how their permit ignored an old toxic dump site. Okay, we all have documentation here, just the ferry alone, about that sand shoaling problem. And all of a sudden they figured out there's a problem here with shoaling sand. Oh, and they'll give us a little meeting about it. This is not acceptable. What's gone on in the past few months with boardwalk issues here and shoreline issues here, and this ferry is a threat to the health and safety of everybody in this community. And we shouldn't just have a shoreline meeting. There should be somebody from the community board, at the very least, at all of these little public.
I'm going to have you wrap it up.
Thank you very much, because we're all going to be watching.
So I would like to add that if the Brooklyn Parks Commissioner invited me to the tour of the boardwalk from the beginning to the end, definitely say yes. If mayor wants to talk to me about the boardwalk or about ferry or about any issue in the community, I will definitely say yes. But again, no decisions were made, and I made very clear to Parks Department and to EDC about both issues, that before they do any decisions, you're saying the decision was already made, decision was not made, and any decision should be going to community board. And in fact, about ferry, I said, I would like to see a town hall, because there are many questions in the community that should be addressed. And they promised to do it. So
meetings about that ferry, numerous meetings, numerous written.
Okay, guys, we're not going to go back and forth with this, Ida. You made your point. The councilman responded. I respect what you're saying. We all frustrated. Let's move on.
Thank you. I would like to recognize Rob as the next speaker, and I just asked to keep all comments and responses brief.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Hi, Ari. I'd like to address the boardwalk briefly as I can. So just to go back about 6-7 years ago, before the section on the boardwalk from Coney Island Avenue to Brighton 15th was constructed or reconstructed, we had been asking for a meeting. When I say we, people like myself who have been fighting for this for 12 years, since 2010. And we couldn't get a meeting with then Parks Commissioner Silver until we had a meeting at the Y over there. And you know when the meeting took place? While they were starting construction on the section that we were going to discuss how it should be constructed. So that shows that the community has been left out time after time. We get patronized, we get things after the fact. And so my question to you is, this meeting that you're having on Monday, I understand you were invited, but just as your predecessor, Mark Traeger, used to do, why not invite a member of the community board who represents us, and perhaps somebody like myself or Ida, who have been fighting for this and is a stakeholder who has, rallied other people to the cause for many years. That's what I would like to know first. And second question, then I'll shut up and have you respond, is you say it's our decision, the community's decision. Well, again, we need to be part of the process before the decisions are made, correct? And lastly, you're our representative. Just as Mark fought for the boardwalk and fought for a wooden boardwalk, what are you fighting for on our behalf?
Thank you. First of all, Monday is not going to be a meeting. is going to be tour, because since Parks Department is constantly talking about Rockaway Beach full restoration of the boardwalk, it would be prudent to visit this boardwalk not as a private citizen by train, and I was at Rockaway Beach and Rockaway many times, but to go specifically with representatives of Park Department over there and to see what's going on at Rockaway Beach to begin with. So that's not a meeting with Parks Department just per se.
But why isn't there somebody from the community board?
Talking about second question, again, I'm fighting, so boardwalk should be fixed, restored for as much money as possible. I'm talking about it to Parks Department, to mayor, to anybody who can listen, that first of all, I was explained that $100 million, regardless of the material, would not be enough. I just explained why, because it requires much more than just boardwalk, the whole infrastructure required beside the boardwalk. It requires a lot of money, and it's not like overnight someone will give. Like, I also talked to commissioner of the mayor's office of climate resiliency, because we're talking about federal infrastructure money possibly being used for this project. It's a part of our infrastructure. And I make it clear everywhere that this is not just the boardwalk, it's our treasure, it's a landmark, it's economic engine, it's our own, it's even better than Central Park for Manhattan. It's for families. It's when I lived in Minsk, Belarus, I've heard about boardwalk. So it's very important to preserve it. Very important. Next year is 100 years anniversary. And if you, everywhere I go, I'm talking about how important to preserve the history of the boardwalk and to make sure people are not getting hurt every day on the boardwalk. And I requested from City Controller Brett Lander even statistics about how much City of New York paying in settlements. And statistic is not good, like though total number is about several millions, but many claims against City are still pending. So maybe even more. So I'm doing everything possible to make sure that boardwalk will be not just restored, but will be even better for another 100 years. That's my position, and I will always include the community, no question.
Thank
Okay,
you, Rob and
I'm
Council.
sorry to interrupt you, Zanera. We're gonna give 2 minutes only to the next 3 speakers. Jeff, do you have your hand up again, or it's been up?
No, I have my hand up.
Okay, so Zanera's gonna call the people in order,
Okay,
and these,
go ahead.
it's only 4 hands up, and that's it. 1 minute, your question, and 1 minute for a response. We have other business.
Yelena? You have to unmute, Yelena. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Councilman. For years, we've heard about not having carpenters and on and on. You just said that some money already were allocated, $100-something million. Correct me if I'm wrong. And you also said that we are going to discuss what should be done, okay? But correct me if I'm wrong. If money is allocated for the project already. So what are we planning to discuss? If money is allocated, also I saw today that some parts of boardwalk, some wood were placed there, not the same wood. So I have no idea what's going on. We just voted for something. We gave Park Department a letter for certain portion of boardwalk. And according to what you said, that we have to discuss, it's undecided. So what money was allocated for? Thank you.
Money was allocated for, thank you, Elena. Money was allocated for the first portion of the money. It will be enough for planning, design, etc. I don't think this money will be for the beginning of the replacement of the boardwalk. It will not be enough. But before this money will be even used, this plan should go to community board, should be discussed publicly. What is the plan? So they just got the money basically today. That's like I got a call today from Deputy Chief of Staff who told me that money is there and they're just starting to stage of called planning and design. And whatever they will come up with, they have to come to community board. They have to inform elected officials. So it will not be any kind of private discussion or anything like this.
Thank you.
Jeff?
Okay, good evening, Councilman.
Good evening.
Last month, the community board had a resolution to declare the Coney Island Creek a Superfund site. And it was sent to the US EPA and other agencies. Now, when you took your boat ride with EDC, because they also got this letter, was this discussed? And
Yes.
how do you feel about this here issue? And this will be, linked into the ferry and their dredging.
Yes, it was discussed. I know about this resolution. I strongly support this resolution. I fought for many years for creek to be cleaned. So I support this resolution. I support Superfund site. Obviously, it's not going to happen tomorrow. Sometimes it takes a long time. So yes, that was a part of the conversation, of course. Answer is yes.
And what was their response?
Their response again, because now they're like on a pause, on a break till July 1st. They said they will come back with all studies, all numbers, and they will present it. And if community consensus would be not to build ferry at all, I wanted you to know that Canarsie is begging for ferry stop right now, specifically. So if decision would be not to build at all or to build on an ocean side and spend like significantly more money. So whatever the decision is, it should be approved by community board. I told them I want a town hall in Coney Island about this important issue.
Thank you very much, and I'm glad that you're fighting for the community on this Oceanside ferry. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Angela?
Hey, good evening, everyone. Sorry, I'm not home, but I hope you can hear me, right?
Yes.
So, two things. First of all, I am really stressed about that people get shaken, like Ida Signoff got shaken for speaking up. It's unheard of. I don't think it should ever be repeated because that's the place, community board, it should be a safe place. If we don't agree with something and we express our disagreement, we shouldn't be punished for it. So I hope that case can be investigated and maybe people responsible for it should answer what really happened. And the second, boardwalk. Boardwalk is an avenue that connects two districts. It's not only your district, it goes all the way to the Brighton Beach. And yesterday when I met with a group of the seniors who've been begging to fix the boardwalk for over the 10 years. And for seniors, it's the hardest part because they go with walkers, with canes, it's really hard. One of the most important project in our area is you're saying it could cost $600 million. I think it requires more discussion with two districts, not with one district, but all the from Brighton Beach all the way to the Seagate, and more involvement of the residents, more input from the residents. What do they want? How do they want to see this new boardwalk? It's one of the biggest constructions. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. I would like to emphasize that I do not live in Queens or on Staten Island. I've been in this community for many, many years in different capacities. I was on the boardwalk many, many times, and I talked to so many people about boardwalk. I cannot even start. Now I just got an opportunity to talk to folks who make decisions, to talk to people in Parks Department, in Mayor's office, in Congress, and I'm trying to create a sense of urgency, because otherwise, if we do not create a sense of urgency, it will be discussion about what to do about boardwalk for the next 20 years. And that's what I'm trying to avoid. I know it's not going to be overnight, but I'm trying to push it as hard as possible. If you look at the website of City Council today, my name and bio, I'm mentioning this even on the website of New York City Council, so everybody knows how important it is. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll be calling on the last person, Lucy.
Unfortunately, we're not going to call on you. As I said, those who have their hands up, we're not going to continue this discussion. Councilman, I want to thank you very much for publicly announcing that you will bring the community board to these events if you're allowed, and that you will now as you indicated to us when you met with Eddie and I and the staff a few months ago, that you would keep us in touch on what's going on. I think this was risen based on what we saw this afternoon on Facebook. So people were concerned. I received some phone calls as to what the heck is happening, that why isn't the community involved in the millions of dollars that are being allocated. Allocated to me means, as Yelena mentioned, when you allocate something, it's already there. It's already being used for certain purposes. We have not heard that list, and we would love to hear that list upcoming in the future, because that's what's being focused on. 114 million, which is what I believe you said. People, you need to understand, 114 million is one screw. It doesn't go far. I'm not happy. I see other boardwalks that are beautiful. I don't know why. My own personal opinion, like I always tell everybody, if they fix it, maybe many people won't be suing and they could continue maintaining it the way they should. I know personally, and I'll go on record, I don't want to, something happens to my toe there, people get millions of dollars just for that. So that's where the money goes. So I want to thank you that you publicly said that you will include the community board. We will have parks meetings when and if that occurs. And as far as the ferry, maybe you should reach out to the Coney Island Oceanside ferry people, because they have been the people that have been fighting strongly. And not that they don't want the ferry, from my understanding, they just don't want it in the toxic location where it's being presented. So
I'm opposed by the community all the time. Everybody has strong opinion. That's why I said that EDC should have not just like present something to community board, but should have town hall on Coney Island to incorporate all opinions of everyone, because people have different opinions, and I see consensus is everybody wants ferry. It's a difference only.
I'm going to respect your point, Councilman, but a town hearing is our town hearing. Our community board is your town. Community boards are your town. It might not be what people want, but we are your town. We are. This community board is. And this is what we get appointed for as public servants to do for the community. We, as you know that very well, and I thank you for appointing me, but you know very well that to me, a town hall meeting, rather it be at Liberation or rather it be at the YMCA, to me, this is what we have right here. It's the same exact thing. And people have come and they have addressed it. So I'm going to end it there so we can move on, because we had other presenters, but I thank you very much for being patient with us and answering our questions. Go ahead, Zanera. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. We're running a little late on time, so I will call on the next speaker, which is Assemblymember Frentis. And I'll give you a warning when you're going a little over time.
It's okay. Hopefully we won't get to that. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm really excited to be here. I feel great. I feel strong. Many of you know that this has been a hell of a year. I had surgery some months ago and recovered nicely. Thank you once again for all the well wishes. I recently came back from Albany with COVID, which was an unwanted gift that I came home with, so I'm just recovering. I have a couple of things I want to touch on, and I do apologize. I like to stay to the end of these meetings when I can, but tonight finds me multitasking and with some other commitments. But let me just go over my notes. First, I was wondering if Mr. Alan Newman was still here from the Amphitheater.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening, good evening. So I wanted just to kind of say that my office will be in touch. I think we've spoken in the past, honestly. I feel like we have communicated, but I just wanted to be clear and to be sort of honest about some of the calls that my office has received vis-a-vis some of the things you mentioned earlier with regards to accessibility. Many people on this Zoom asked you earlier whether your facility was available to the community. I wanted to point out that there's a school just 3 blocks from the amphitheater, 3 literal blocks. And they reached out to my office because they wanted to know if they could have their graduation ceremony at the amphitheater. Unfortunately, they were not able to afford the price that was quoted to them. So I'm just putting it out there. I wonder if there's something we can do by having some sort of sliding scale for community schools, for local children, for people that live in the neighborhood. I think that would go a long way in terms of a goodwill gesture. And I'd be more than interested in speaking with you about that at your convenience.
Sure, we can talk about that offline.
Sure.
But the costs of the amphitheater are security, ushers, ticket takers. They're paying people. And there are, particularly these days, with security being a primary concern at any mass gathering, ushers, COVID testing, COVID checks. There's a staff that's required. So there's not going to be any room on, well, we'll go without security guards.
I'm sorry,
No,
Alan, can you both connect? It seems to be more of a
Absolutely.
private situation.
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you, Lucy.
In fact, I brought it up because many people asked about it. So I wanted to just go public on the record because this was a question that many people brought up. Regarding Gregory Russ coming to Coney Island, we're thrilled to hear that good news. I wanted to say thank you to my colleague in government, Councilmember Ari Kagan. I wanted to also say publicly that my office, in fact, had also reached out to him to specifically come to Gravesend. We did a walking tour there some months ago and led some journalists there to see really some of the most shocking images that I had seen in all of my years. I've been living here now almost 40 years, and I was just aghast and shocked at what I saw in Gravesend houses. So my office sent him a letter asking him to come to Gravesend to take a look. And I understand that you've also been sounding the alarm, reaching out to him. And I know that for some time he wasn't responding. So I'm happy to hear the good news that he's responded and would love to be part of that walkthrough at Gravesend, given that we had reached out to him and had specifically asked him to come and tour that building. Although he's coming many months after the fact, after the walls have been painted and the chip walls have been fixed, but I was trying to get him there so that he could see what I saw, which is too bad he did not come. Regarding the ferry, I want to echo and repeat some of what has been said before, but there's something very important. I heard someone talking about the town hall. My office has been working very, very closely with the local civic group, the Coney Islanders, for an oceanside ferry. Many of the members are here. We've held numerous press conferences. We've been screaming from the rooftops and telling anybody who will listen in terms of what is going on. As Ida Sanoff said, all of the shouting that we were doing was not for naught. We were able to show that there was something awry. There was something wrong going on. There was something sinister going on. And what was going on was that the city was not adhering to their state issued permits point blank. They did not honor those permits. They violated those permits. As a result, they were fined $70,000, which leaves a bad taste in many of our mouths in terms of good faith. So a consent order was recently issued, and the Coney Islanders for an oceanside ferry, they themselves are planning on having a people town hall in conjunction with my office. I think they even have a date. So the council member, I think, had a great idea in terms of saying, can EDC come and speak to the people? Today is the first day that we are speaking publicly about the town hall that we've been working on. In fact, we were working on the flyers. I think we have a date coming up in May. So the presidents of that group, I think, Ann Valdez and Craig Hammerman are the co-chairs of that group, and we're doing it together with my office. I had already told them, reach out to EDC, see if they're interested. So I want to echo the council member said, we will reach out to EDC and see if they would like to participate in this people's town hall, but we're already a step ahead of you, I have to say, and we're working on it. And we want to talk about that consent order and what that means and the fine that the city had to pay. As was stated before by Lucy, we're all thrilled about the idea of a ferry. We want it to be at a logical location, and the creek is not the logical location. Moving ahead, I want people to know that my office has been busy doing lots of things for the people, for the community. I could be here all night. I won't do that to you. But listen, I just got COVID. I would not wish this on my worst enemy. Please get tested. Please be safe. Come by my office. We're open 5 days a week. We have plenty of tests. The city sends them to us, the state rather. And I like to joke and say they don't ask us, they just send. So we get some delivery guy with thousands of boxes and we're saying, what's going on here? So we need to get those boxes out. Please come by and get some for you and your families. Omicron is on the move. It's no respecter of persons. It's highly contagious. So please take care of yourself and get some tests. I want to give a shout out. My constituent liaison is on the Zoom, Anthony Batista. He has been just unbelievable. Helping so many people across Coney Island. I want to really let people know what's going on because we get people walking into the office every day with all sorts of issues, every problem that you could think about. There's one gentleman, a senior citizen in Coney Island, who came by recently, who was at his wit's end. He's an immigrant and he had been working for years. Because of COVID, he lost his job. He said, you know, I have a feeling I'm entitled to some money. I'm not sure, but can you look into it? And to make a long story short, because I know Zanera's timing me, Anthony worked his magic and hit all the buttons and looked on the computer. He got on the phone, he made some calls. When everything was settled, okay, Anthony was able to get this gentleman. Now he's like afraid for people to know who he is. He got a lump sum from his pension of $16,000. Anthony helped him get a check for $82,000 from Social Security. Okay, he gets these 2 checks. Now he's getting his monthly checks coming in. So I just wanted to thank Anthony, who's on the Zoom, and to let people know that our doors are open 5 days a week, whether we're feeling well, whether we're not feeling well, we're there for you. So come on by and let the community know that they can get help with their constituent services. I think I touched on everything. You know, we have our 6-point economic mobility plan, which is doing very well. We've been working behind the scenes, helping people with their small businesses, helping people with home ownership. The numbers speak for themselves. And in a few weeks, I'm going to have a virtual event where I do a community update and let people know how the economic plan has been going. And I just hope that many of you here will be able to attend so that you can hear some testimonials from the community in terms of how the plan has benefited them and their family. So thank you, everyone. And I'll be here for a couple of questions if anyone has questions.
Thank you. Lucy?
Okay, so because thank you very much, and I'm glad you're feeling better. Unfortunately, I heard a lot of the assembly people were ill, so
yeah,
sorry to hear that. I just want to add one sentence because I want to say for the record, it's great to hear that you're thinking about having town hall meetings. And what I would like to place on the record is that hopefully you and the councilman can get together and work for the community as what this community board does, so we can all work together and get this situation ratified. I just wanted to put it on record and we could continue with the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy.
Thank you. I don't see any hands up for questions. Okay.
I won't take it personal. There were dozens of questions for Ari, so either people are fatigued or I covered all the bases, but either way, really great to see everybody and hope to see all of you very soon.
Thank you. We appreciate you joining our meeting tonight and giving updates. Next, I'll call for a fire update on the West 5th Street fire, FDNY chief, if he's still on the call.
Yes, I'm still here.
Hi, Dan.
How are you?
Good, good. Thank you for joining.
So we unfortunately had that fire at 2932 West 5th Street on March 29th. And sadly, the occupant of the apartment in 15B passed away due to the smoke of the fire. They have not yet, the marshals have yet to determine the cause of the fire. What I can say is that in fires in buildings like this, unless the fire is actually in your apartment, the safest place you can be is stay in your own apartment. We have issues where people leave the apartments and go in the hallways and the smoke gets unbearable in the hall and in the stairs when they're trying to escape. And that's where we have a lot of our casualties, unfortunately. So at this point, my recommendation would be to stay in your apartment if you live in one of these types of buildings. And if you can get a wet towel, put it under your door. And if the smoke starts to get bad, continue to call 911. Eventually, we will get to you. Does anybody have any questions in regards to this particular fire?
I don't see any hands up, but thank you for that update and for the information. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next, I'll call Tova.
Thank you, Zanera. I'm going to be really fast because I know everyone probably has other things to do tonight. I just want to thank the fire chief for the update and also extend prayers from Councilmember Vernikoff to the family of firefighter Timothy Klein and all of his friends and the community, the police department, the fire department, and everyone who's in mourning. I wanted to also just give a couple of quick updates from our office. First of all, we've been working with the mayor's office with regard to illegal vendors on Brighton Beach Avenue. Elena has been a great partner in that, as well as the community board, and we thank you for your partnership. We were able to have inspectors from DCWP go out over the last weekend and issue violations and speak with the vendors, and they've committed to continuing to enforce vending rules on Brighton Beach Avenue. So we'll continue to keep the community. I also wanted to mention that we have been working again with the mayor's office with regard to homelessness in the district, with helping get homeless people into dignified housing and cleaning up encampments and making our streets safer. We put out a list of some of the sites that have been reported to us with their issues with homelessness, and the mayor's office has already gone out to a couple of them, cleaned them up, did social services outreach, and offered housing to those folks, and will continue to do so. In particular, there was one location, Brighton 6th Street and Brighton Beach Avenue, and the mayor's office went out there, I believe it was last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, and they offered housing and they cleaned it up, and they'll stay on top of that as well. I also just wanted to mention Ramadan Mubarak to all who are celebrating, and Eid Mubarak in advance. I know it's next week, I think. And we were really happy to partner with APNA on a halal food distribution just 2 weeks ago. It was an incredible event. They handed out hundreds and hundreds of packages of food and hot meals, and I know they do that very frequently. So Councilmember Vernikoff was really, really glad to see their great work. One other thing going on in the community, I know last year there was a lengthy discussion at one of the community board meetings about an issue in Astor Levy Park with children being bullied by other kids who were calling themselves a gang. So this was an issue that was really important to Councilmember Vernikoff to address. She met with the CO of the 60th Precinct. Inspector King was great. He assigned officers to be at the park after school every day. That he had youth officers there, and he continues to have auxiliary officers there. And we've heard reports that the bullying is no longer happening at the park. So we really appreciate the partnership of the community, Angela, and the precinct as well. They've been awesome. So we have gotten reports that they've moved to other locations in the 6-1 precinct. So we're working with them now on that. But the issue seems to have been resolved at Astor Levy Park. Finally, I just wanted to let everyone know that in the next couple of weeks, we'll be having an event with the fire department, a CPR training and smoke alarm distribution. Right now, it's tentatively scheduled for May 17th at the Shorefront Y at 6 p.m., but we are just waiting to confirm all of the specifics, and then I will share the flyer with the community board to share with all of you. That's all. Thank you all so much, and have a great night.
Thank you, Tova. Are there any questions? I don't see any hands raised. No? Okay, well, thank you. Joanne? We can't hear you. Joanne, I don't know if you're asking a question or not. You're muted.
I'm unmuted. May 17th is the third Tuesday of the month, and that's known to be the 60th Precinct Council meeting. So is it possible to reschedule that meeting that you are planning so that everybody can attend and not have to worry about picking and choosing?
Yes. Luckily, we haven't confirmed everything 100%. I'm going to double check that with the fire department and the location to make sure that we can switch it. Thank you for flagging that for me.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Queenie?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. At our last meeting, I brought up and asked the board to please find out the name of an owner of a smoke shop and two other smoke shop in the area. And I thought it was going to be in the minutes, but it's nowhere in the minutes. This is a very important matter.
Queenie, when we get to the minutes, Queenie, when we get to the minutes, you can ask for amendments. We're not at the minutes yet.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Alrighty. Thank you, Tova. Appreciate it. Now going to the list of people that signed up. Alexandra, are you there?
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I'm here. I just have a few quick updates. I'm going to try to see if I can pull up my video. So good evening. So very quickly, I just wanted to give 3 updates about the work that we're doing in Coney Island at the Alliance for Coney Island, and I'm the executive director for anybody who doesn't know. So one is that we are implementing a bunch of new murals. So I just wanted to let everybody know that in case they see the artist painting. One is on Stillwell Avenue, right outside of the train station. Another is on Tom's. Another is on the Brooklyn Cyclones wall. And we just completed 2 on Mermaid Avenue, one at Mermaid Pharmacy and one at Pizza on the Run. So if you see anybody doing that, they're not graffitiing, they're beautifying. The second update is we are working on our, finally, for people who have been at meetings pre-pandemic, we have a grant from the Governor's Office of Storm Recovery, and we just started implementing that work on Mermaid Avenue. That is West 21st Street to West 35th or so. We're still working out details a little bit and trying to extend the work, but that is to extend the tree guards, benches, plant new trees, and do plantings in the tree pits to extend the work that is being done from Stillwell to West 21st Street. So that will be done over the next month. So you will see a staging area has been set up. It is not in front of anybody's home. We made sure to choose a commercial block, and we're very excited to bring these resources to Coney Island. And then the last piece, and I'm totally blanking on my next update, because I've been listening intently to the meeting, so I might have to send an email. Oh, we are going to have a workforce event. That was my next update. So we will be sending out a blast tomorrow about that. But we are working with several of the amusement district employers, as well as some nonprofits, to have a workforce event with Workforce One, and that will be happening in about 2 weeks. So we will share that with everybody, and then the community board can blast it out. Thank you guys, and have a great night.
Thank you, Alexandra. Ida?
I think I've said enough for one night. I'll pass.
Thank you, Ida. Appreciate that. Rob? Rob, are you still there?
I'm here, but I think I'll second what Ida just did and say that I've said enough. So thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Next is Chris. Chris, are you there?
I think Chris left.
Chris left. Okay. Craig?
Thank you, Zanera. If members of the community board recall, Parks Department came before the community board either last year or early this year to present their plans to reconstruct West 24th to West 27th Street. And when they did, I very specifically asked them what materials they were going to use on the West 27th Street fire break, because previously they used these special interlocking block pavers that was part of the original design. And at that meeting, the borough commissioner basically said that they hadn't completed that portion of the design. DDC backed them up on that, and it's all in the video for anyone who wants to watch it and verify it. Then months later, the Parks Department came back to the community board, I guess a couple of months ago, to present their plans to build a vehicular on-ramp at West 27th Street on the very fire break that I had inquired about at the previous meeting. So they knew about this vehicular on-ramp at the time that I had asked the original question, and they chose to conceal and withhold that information from the community at the original meeting. They don't need to build a vehicular on-ramp. It was established. They want to build a vehicular on-ramp. Parks Department lied to this community at that first meeting when they withheld the information about how they conceptualized redesigning the fire break. They knew they wanted to build a vehicular on-ramp, but they intentionally withheld that information from the community. They concealed vital information from us. They lied to all of us straight to our faces. Our new council members, Kagan and Vernikov, have been invited to tour Rockaways with the Parks Department to see how they manage the boardwalk there post Sandy after it was rebuilt. Parks is offering our new council members the same Kool-Aid they tried to get us to drink. I don't trust the Parks Department to responsibly manage our boardwalk. Parks Department wants to fix our boardwalk, but they're not willing to commit to stop destroying it with their heavy vehicles, with the sand that they use to fill in under the deck, and with the chronic under-budgeting of our maintenance resources that has allowed it to fall into such a dramatic state of disrepair. Please, council members Vernikov and Kagan, do not give the Parks Department a single cent of our taxpayers' capital money to fix this boardwalk without having an ironclad assurance that they will stop destroying it, one, by stopping to use vehicles on the boardwalk and abandoning the vehicular on-ramp project, thank you, Zanira. Two, that they will restore the sand levels under the boardwalk to the heights established by the Army Corps of Engineers when they did their beach replenishment project years ago. And three, that they will give us more than 2 part-time seasonal carpenters to maintain the 2.7 miles of boardwalk and provide sufficient ongoing funding for maintenance. We need to stop rewarding the Parks Department's bad behavior. This would not be tolerated in other communities, and we cannot tolerate it here either. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig. That concludes our list of speakers and presenters for tonight. We'll go on to the next agenda item, which is the minutes from the last meeting. I'll ask for a motion. I see Joanne moves to approve.
Hold on. I think Queenie wants to make an amendment to it.
Excuse me, you need to ask if there's any changes to the minutes.
She was going there, guys. Give her a minute. She was going there. Go ahead, Anera.
Is there a second?
No, you're back to what Michael said. Is there any
amendments?
Can I just, before Queenie goes on, clarify the meeting that she's referring to was at the public safety meeting. That what she's asking for were in those minutes. It was not brought up at our regular meeting.
I think she would. I think she can address it. Let her get her up. Sorry, well, Joanne, but it's her addressing it.
That's fine.
If you can unmute.
Unmute yourself, Queenie.
1 second. We still can't hear you. Try one more time.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
At the last meeting, I expressed concerns of the community regarding 3 smoke shops within a 3-block radius of the community, and asked the community board if they could check into it to find out who owns them and their time of operation. And one of the things, I said it because I wanted it to go on record, and I noticed this has not been mentioned in the minutes at all. And I would like to know why. No.
Okay.
Joanne, does that answer your question or?
No, it doesn't add because it wasn't brought up at the board meeting. It's in the minutes of the Public Safety Committee meeting that I'm giving tonight. That's
I
where
believe,
it's.
I'm gonna interrupt
No.
you both. I believe she did mention it at the last board meeting.
Yes,
I would
yes.
like the record to reflect that Queenie would like that to be, the minutes to be amended. May I get a first, excuse me. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as amended unless there's other amendments.
Okay, you got it.
Joanne?
Thank you.
Joanne's the
Thank you.
second. Roll call.
Lucy Mujica Diaz,
Yes, as amended.
Zunera Ahmed,
Yes.
Shirley Akins, Lakeisha Bowers,
Yes.
Dion Brown,
Yes.
Patricia Brown,
Yes.
Maria Caggiano, Marion Cleaver, Joe Carase,
Yes, as amended.
Mark Davidovich,
Yes.
You are unmuted.
Lolita Divilova,
Yes.
Yes.
Wanda Feliciano,
Yes.
Susan Flashenberg,
Yes.
Olga Ford,
Yes.
Brian Gottlieb, Brian Granoff, Selena Grant, Ronald Greenberg,
Yes.
Avram Hanif, Amaryllis Herrera, Queenie Hewling,
Yes.
Bernard Kaufman,
Yes.
Yelena Mackin,
Yes.
Pat O'Brien,
Yes.
Joseph Packer, Milagros Quiles,
Yes.
Michael Quinn,
Yes, Michael Quinn.
Shimon Rankowski,
Yes.
Michael Russo, Jeff Sanoff,
Yes.
Priscilla Santos, Fran Schwartz.
Yes.
Thank you, Fran. Tatiana Siegel, Tatiana Siegel, Pervez Siddiqui, Michael Silverman,
Yes, Michael?
Pat Singer,
Yes.
Evelyn Strasser, Jack Subin,
Yes.
Barbara Teitelbaum,
Yes.
Edita Volovodovskaya,
Yes.
Dennis Verderis, Gloria Watkins.
Yes.
Thank you, Gloria. Joanne Weiss,
Yes.
Annette Wesley, David Wynn.
Yes.
Thank you, Kumali Zeri. Okay, I'll count up. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Hannah.
Thank
While
you.
she is counting, Lucy, do you want to give the chairperson's report?
Thank you, Zanera. I'll try to be as brief as possible and hopefully you could hear me because I turn my face and then I lose the microphone. Okay, so there's been rumors about a casino coming to Community Board 13, Coney Island, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Happy casino days. I just want to make it clear that yes, the Community Board did meet with Patricia Lynch from Thorny Equities. Hopefully I pronounced it correctly. And when she met with us, there were two decisions that they would like to make that they brought to our attention. One is to have a luxury building at the location. The other one was a casino. What we told them that is the luxury building probably won't be feasible here because we obviously have the ocean. Hold on a second. Sorry, guys. I have my notes here. Is it Oceanside, Jeff?
Might be Ocean View.
Ocean View, whoever spoke, thank you very much, is 25% full. So the other
Ocean Drive.
75% is not full, and it probably won't be something in their best benefit. And Guardiola's is also building a luxury housing complex. So when we spoke about the casino, we had concerns with them. We let them know what our concerns were. I'm not going to go through the whole list, but I'm going to go through things. One of the concerns was our boardwalk, our beautiful boardwalk that if you got that amount of people going on that boardwalk that is not stable enough, it is going to collapse. We also spoke to them about we're in a low middle income community, that some people in the community, some people in the community might have $100 and want to make $1,000, and we have concerns about that due to the fact that if it is in New York, you have 18 and older that can go into the facility, and we don't want something like that to happen to our youth. We also, on the reverse side, we also talked about the seniors. Many seniors, including myself, go to the casinos to entertain themselves, and we also won't want that to happen to them with the funds that they receive. We talked about traffic, we talked about sanitation, we talked about every concern that has been brought up to this community that would not probably be feasible for them to have the casino here. Okay, with all that being said, the location is an as of right location. Let's make that clear, as of right location. If you do not know what that means, contact Eddie from the community board and he will tell you what that means. I think it's very clear. They can come, they can build anything they want, as long as they don't build past the air rights, and we have nothing to say. But they did come to us and ask us which one of the things that we would think would be best fit in this community. I don't think either one, but again, we focused on the casino if it was. On that note, they did not only meet with us, they met with other people. They met with NYCHA residents, NYCHA leaders. They met with, I'm not sure if they got to them yet, but to the Alliance. I'm not sure they got to the elected officials yet, but they were making their rounds. Nothing has been decided. If and when we hear something, the community board will be more than happy to disclose that information. Okay, I'm not gonna ask any questions if there are any questions, because again, it is an as of right, period, in the conversation. Cannabis, how do you pronounce it? Marijuana licenses. Okay. They're coming, they're all over the place, Queenie. These smoke shops are all over the place. Good news for you is that now they're going to start bringing the applications to the community boards to vote on them. My understanding is that the application is going to be similar to the liquor license applications, 500-foot hearings, 200-foot hearings, et cetera, when they do come to us. Eddie is reaching out to the agency to come to our licensing committee so they can give us a briefing on what we expect. Hybrid meetings. They are ending on June 8th, Zoom meetings are ending on June 8th, and we're supposed to be doing hybrid meetings. Eddie has a meeting with all the district managers once a month and the borough president, which they're going to be discussing it further. So what they're telling us now is that as of June 8th, we will no longer be able to have only Zoom meetings. We will have to have hybrid meetings. What does that mean? It means that we'll have to have in-person and Zoom meetings. But there's a big issue with it. The issue that has been risen is that we must have quorum present. We must have quorum present. So if I have a committee, let me just look over here. For example, the environmental committee, I have 4 out of 7. 4 people must be present in person. The other can be on Zoom, but they cannot vote. So the 4 people, the 4 people that are in the room are the ones that can vote. I find that it is going to work for us for committee meetings. That's because if you have 4 people, I'm sure 4 people will come to the office. I don't feel it's going to work for us for full board meetings, because then I'm going to have the staff call everybody and make sure we have 26 people present. And that one person that gets ill at the last minute, we lose quorum, business is not there. So we might have to focus on in-person full board meetings. But once Eddie gets more information to me from what has been discussed at with the borough president, we will get back to you with that information. And the reason I also say that the full board is not feasible for this community board is because we don't have the equipment to do it. We don't have the space to do it in the locations that we meet. They don't have the equipment that it is feasible to run that type of meeting. If we have in-person full board meetings, you will be marked absent. You would have no excuses unless it's based on the bylaws. I know it's hard, I know it's difficult, but we'll just have to hear again what they come up with, and we can go that way. Once I hear from Eddie, like I said, once again, I'll have an executive meeting, because my understanding is also that we have to come up with a resolution to the borough president's office and letting them know how we intend to run the meetings. And also there will be a list of excuses that people can be on the Zoom that cannot come to the meeting in person. So hopefully I was clear with that. So for an example, if I am calling you and say I can't come to the meetings because I have a medical condition, now it comes to the point that I have to disclose my medical condition. So that's where the little problems are at, that I don't feel that board members have to, or people don't feel that board members should disclose their medical conditions as to why they can't come in person. So we're waiting, and I will get back to you guys with all that information. Any questions except for the casino? Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Lucy. Next, district managers report. Eddie.
I have to follow Lucy with that. Okay, well, Lucy is correct. We are going to meet with the district managers to find out how the other community boards are going to run meetings. Some of them are running them right now, and some of them are having a difficult time because they have seniors too, and they are very wary about getting them affected with the COVID. So we'll get an update by next month, and I will keep you updated with that. Today, we had an Alliance Interagency meeting. We had a couple of things that were brought about some detail. Of course, Joanne will mention it in her public hearing, public safety committee report, but they also mentioned that there are going to be extra officers for the summertime, and how they're going to deal with the vendors in the area. Because as you know, there was illegal vendors on the boardwalk and in the street, and DCWP had a hard time enforcing it. They're trying to come up with something dealing with parks and the health department and DCWP to come together and tackle the issue. Only because if you pass it on to one agency, the other one might not come until another day or two, and they don't need that to happen. So they're trying to get something like a team together that will be ongoing on the weekends when things are happening Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And we'll see more of that coming in the next coming weeks. Let's see. We also mentioned about there was an illegal parking lot on West 12th Street. I know people always complained about it. We finally had them agree or locked up the parking lot on West 12th Street. They were notorious for the last couple of years running a parking lot without a license. And we finally got the buildings department with the owners to finally close it down. So if anyone sees anybody action in that parking lot, let us know. They are not allowed to have cars in that parking lot. Let's see. We also we're scheduling a meeting with the WIN homeless shelter for the CAB people for a community advisory board. We would like them to give us a tour of the site because it's been a year and a half since we've been there, and we just want to make sure everything is running up and going. As mentioned last month, that we were trying to get EDC to come to talk about the ferry, as the councilman and the assemblywoman mentioned. We are going to get them in May, but I'm not going to repeat the same topic. So maybe somehow, somewhere we'll come together where all three of us can come together. We found that Roddy is no longer our contact person. He has left EDC. We have a new person. Her name is Tara. She just was assigned to take his place. So we'll find out what her take is within the next couple of days. She will let us know if she can make it to the May meeting, and if it's a separate meeting outside of the general board, we'll let you guys know. Also, the MTA, there is no F train for the next couple of weekends till June the 13th. So on the F train, there is no weekend service. They're fixing up the track work, and they have to get it done before the summer. Other than that, that's my committee. That's my district manager's report.
Thank you, Eddie. Are there any questions? I don't see any hands up. Okay, we'll go to communications and correspondence. Shimon.
Oh, good evening.
One second,
wha-
Sam. I wanna apologize to people. Sorry. I want to apologize. There's been things placed in the chat. We didn't intentionally ignore them. I got a text. I highly recommend that, yes, we did say place things to the chat, but we don't look at them as quickly as you would like. So please, in the future, raise your hand and we will call you. So totally apologize for that.
Can I just step in on Eddie's statement there? Can we do something about the produce stores in Brighton Beach finally? They're blocking the pedestrian walk for the elderly especially. They're coming out too far. Why can't we get this enforced?
We are working with DCWP and Yelena, with also the, I forget which one other department, but they are coming together to address it. I know that there were some inspectors that has come over on the weekend. I'm not sure if they tackled that part.
Eddie,
Yelena, go for it.
I'm really sorry to interrupt you because that's not what Pat Singer is asking. Pat, nobody knows when. Nobody knows when, because according to Consumer Affairs, the violation of stoop license is not a priority.
Yes, you and I spoke, but it should be a priority because it's a mess to walk for these old people. Even myself was getting up there to walk.
Okay.
They're so narrowed out there on Brighton Beach Avenue.
They don't feel like it's priority. I'm sorry.
Well, there should be
Eddie, do you have a
to the
response
board.
to Pat's
Okay.
query?
I will definitely respond to that, Pat, when we get back into office tomorrow. Okay, and I will help you with that again.
Thank you.
Shimon?
Oh, just one announcement at the Y for this Saturday, April 30th. This Saturday, April 30th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. West 29th Street and Surf Avenue for the Healthy Kids Day. So bring your kids and have a good time this Saturday at the Y, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. West 30th Street. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have questions? Please raise your hand. No. Going to the treasurer's report by Dion.
Thank you, Zanera. Good evening, everyone. Hope you all had a great day. Tonight, I will be reporting Community Board 13's Treasurer's Report for the third quarter from January 1st to March 31st for the year 2022. On July 1st, 2021, Community Board 13's starting operating budget totaled in the amount of $339,074. The total operating budget includes the following and is divided between rent, telephone, and heat totaling $81,186. Please note this amount we do not touch. These expenses are paid directly through DCAS, Department of Citywide Administrative Services. There's OTPS, which stands for Other Than Personnel Services, meaning office-related items, totaling $36,020. Then we have payroll services, which consists of office salaries for 3 staff members, totaling $221,368. And in the month of December of 2021, the city issued an additional $500 to the community board's payroll budget. Now, the total amount paid out beginning January 1st, 2022 to March 31st, 2022 from the following spending categories. OTPS, office-related items. General office supplies, $0. Printing, $0. Intra-city storehouse, $0. food, $0, postage, $0, data processing supplies, $0, cleaning supplies, $0, office equipment, Conica Minolta, $0, security, $0, data processing equipment, $0, books, $0, telephone and communications, $0, lease of rental of miscellaneous equipment, $0, local travel, $0, telecommunications maintenance, $199.96, general maintenance and repairs, $0, office equipment maintenance, $270.60, printing services, $88, temporary services, $0, cleaning services, monthly cleaning for the office, $1,325. Now there's payroll service. Starting budget was $221,868. Payroll paid out from the first quarter was $44,963.95. Payroll paid out from the second quarter was $59,485.07. Payroll paid out for this quarter, the third, is $46,240.36. These amounts deducted from starting payroll service budget of $221,868 leaves a current balance of $71,178.62. After a careful review of all budget items, we are on budget and do not foresee any changes necessary at this time, leaving a closing balance, including rent and payroll services, in the amount of $141,366.08. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dion, for your report. Are there any questions?
Eddie? Oh, well, I forgot to tell Dion to mention we are still looking for a community assistant. Please let us know if anyone wants to apply. The position is still available. We are in desperate need of filling that position. So if you know anyone, please direct them to the office. Thank you.
Thank you, Dion and Lucy. Next, we'll go to committee reports. First is the Public Safety Committee. Joanne or Gloria, do you have a committee report?
I have it. Thank you, Barbara, for the minutes. Great job. I'm not going to go through it word by word because I don't think it's necessary. You all have a copy and you can all look at it. I just have a couple of points I want to make. Chief Mandela from the FDNY was there. We discussed the fires in the building, and he was going to ask Sandra Sanchez from FDNY Public Affairs to reach out to community board with flyers to be disseminated. I would like to know, did we get the flyers? All right. And we also, Eddie asked Melissa Farley from MTA about the homeless plan for the Stillwell Evidence Station. And she was supposed to get back to us on what the plan was. And my question is, did we ever get it? Because I got no follow-up. So, and that's it. Are there any questions? Can I get answers to my questions?
Yes, so far, well, Melissa wasn't around because I hate to say it, she has COVID too. And she mentioned that it is still new about the subway safety plan and how they're going to conduct the procedures. Since they announced it, they're still getting the bugs out of it, trying to figure out what to do when the homeless gets off at the last stop. What do they do? And they're still in that process of fixing that.
Okay. And did we get the flyers from Sandra?
Hi, Joanne.
Sandra's
This is
here.
Hannah. So Sandra said she has not sent us anything yet, but she was actually on this meeting. She had to leave already, unfortunately, but she said that she is actually looking at senior citizen centers and community centers. They would like to do or start up again how they used to have workshops.
Okay.
For fire safety, and she will be giving us all the materials as soon as they're finished with it. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Okay, that's it. That's my report.
Thank you, Joanne. Next is the Resiliency Committee. Jack?
Yes, hi. First of all, thank you, Barbara, for the excellent minutes. And I too want to, in the interest of brevity, keep my comments short. Everybody received the minutes. The Army Corps of Engineers visited us and basically presented options that were presented 2 years ago. They ran out of funding. They've been refunded since Hurricane Ida, and it looks like they're pursuing the same approaches. There were a number of poignant questions, but essentially we're waiting for updated information on really where they're going to go. That's pretty much it.
Thank you. I just want to add that it was a joint report with environment and sanitation as well. So Jeff?
I just want to add that the Army Corps is waiting for New York DEC state to get their numbers too and get together and see what can be done. Takes a while.
Thank you, Jeff. Are there any questions for that committee report? No? Okay. We will now go into nominations committee report.
Yes, hi, everybody. Good evening. I'm going to try to be really brief. As most of you know, all of the community board office positions are up for election. We are going to be holding elections for all of the positions, chairperson, first vice chairperson, second vice chairperson, secretary, and treasurer. The election will be at the June board meeting on June 22nd, and the term will be for 2 years beginning July 1. A nominating committee has been put together. As you know, the nominating committee is charged with identifying community board members who are interested in running for these positions. The committee is comprised of 5 members plus 2 alternates. The members are myself, Susan Flashenberg, I am the committee chair. The other members are Marion Cleaver, Wanda Feliciano, Barbara Teitelbaum, and Gloria Watkins. The 2 alternates are Michael Russo and David Wynn. The nominating committee wishes to encourage all community board members in good standing to become candidates. If you are interested in running for one of these offices, please send an email to Barbara Santonis at the community board as soon as possible.
I thought that was done.
They have more time. You can submit your nomination for a position by the May 25th meeting. And the original date was to try to get as many people in as possible. So people can submit their nomination, their request to be considered for a position as soon as possible. Now, this is a timeline. May 25th, that is when the nominating committee will make its report on the slate of candidates for each office. At the May meeting, and only at the May meeting, board members may offer additional nominations from the floor. They can nominate someone else or they can nominate themselves. Nominations from the floor will be done only at the May meeting, and they must have oral confirmation from the nominee at the meeting. All nominees can submit a written statement of their qualifications for their candidacies to the community board office by early June. By mid-June, a written notice of election will be either mailed or emailed to all board members. This notice will list all nominees for board offices, including nominees who were offered from the floor at the May meeting. So it's people who submitted emails about their interest or nominees from the floor from the May meeting. The written notice of election will be sent out to all the board members by mid-June. The notice will also include any written statements submitted by the nominees. At the June 22nd board meeting, any candidate that's running for a position where there is another candidate, in other words, a contested position, will have the option to provide a 3-minute speech on their candidacy to the board membership. Voting will be on June 22nd board meeting, whether that's going to be in person or it's going to be by a Zoom, I don't know yet. We will let you know. So again, anyone who wants to be considered for one of the positions, please submit your interest as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Appreciate the report. Lucy?
Susan, may I ask, even though it was in the minutes, if you can give us a list of who is running so far and for what positions?
Certainly. At this point in time, all of the current board officers are running. That would be Lucy Mujica Diaz for chair, Jeff Sanoff for first vice chair, Zunera Ahmed for second vice chair, Shimon Rinkowski for secretary, and for treasurer, we have two candidates. The incumbent, who is Dion Brown, and Tatiana Siegel, both are running for treasurer. Those are the only nominees that we know of as of this time.
Thank you, Susan. Are there any other questions? No? Okay. I'm gonna move on to old business. Any old business? No? Okay. I'm going to ask for good and welfare before we go to new business. Is there any good and welfare? No? New business? I see there's a new application on the agenda. Is there someone to present on that?
Good evening again. We have an application for Arbus Mouse LLC, Pizza Brook, located on 1215 Surf Avenue. The reason we are bringing this application as new business because the same entity applied and they were approved, but they just missed deadline and they did not send it to Liquor Authority for various reasons. So they submitted new application. If I remember correctly, they were not only approved by committee, but they were also approved by community board. It's the same application. The only change, they apply in the first place, they apply for full liquor license. Now they're applying for wine and beer, I believe. So also they're asking for temporary license. And I believe you all know that all new licenses are delayed. So applicants are advised to apply for a temporary license in order to start operation. So, I mean, that's the exactly same entity, the same corporation, the same people, the same location. So it's all the same. And now we have this application and we are bringing it to full board to vote. Any questions?
Lucy?
May I be first to motion to accept as presented?
Okay.
Second the motion.
Jeff seconds.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Luz, are we gonna make this the final vote or this will be another one?
I
Is it an
mean,
error?
the thing
Pardon
after is
me?
the final roll call. So if we can do this as a final vote and then a sign off, I think that
Yes.
was good.
That's
Okay.
my question.
Backwards.
Backwards.
Thank you, Luz.
Hannah, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Okay. David Nguyen,
Yes.
Annette Wesley, Joanne Weiss,
Yes.
thank
Doing
you.
it backwards.
Gloria Watkins,
Of course you don't. Don't matter, you have to be here anyway.
Yes.
thank you. Edita Volovodovskaya,
Yes.
Barbara Titlebaum,
Yes,
Jack Subin,
Yes.
Pat Singer, Pat Singer, Michael Silverman,
Yes, Michael?
Good board meeting.
Tatiana Siegel.
You're not muted anymore.
Tana, it's Pat, yes, for me.
Okay, thank you, Pat. Tatiana Siegel,
Yes.
Fran Schwartz,
Yes.
thank you, Fran. Jeff Sanoff,
Yes.
Shimon Rakovsky,
Yes, good night.
Michael Quinn,
Yes, Michael Quinn, good night.
Milagros Quiles, Milagros, Pat O'Brien,
Yes, Pat O'Brien.
Yelena Mackin,
Yes, good night.
Bernard Kaufman,
Yes, good night.
good night. Queenie Hewling,
Yes, good night.
Ronald Greenberg,
Yes, good night, everyone.
Olga Ford,
Yes. Have a good night.
Susan Flaschenberg,
Yes.
Wanda Feliciano,
Yes, good night.
Lolita Divilova,
Yes, thank you. Good night.
Mark Davidovich, Mark,
Yes, yes,
Thank you.
yes, good night.
Joe Carase,
Yes, good night.
Patricia Brown,
Yes, good night.
thank you. Dion Brown,
Yes.
Lakeisha Bowers,
Yes, good night.
good night. Zanera Ahmed,
Yes.
and Lucy Mujica Diaz.
Yes, and good night to all.
Thank you.
And great job, Zanara. Thank you.
It's in there.
Great crowd to chair tonight. Thank you. Have a good night.
I'm here.
Yes, oh, Milagros is here.
Oh, I'm sorry, Milagros, what is your vote?
Yes, she said.
Okay, thank you. It's 30.
Hello?
Yes,
No.
Oh, it's no, sorry.
wait, who is this?
Her-
Good night.
Milagros said no.
Milagros, what is your vote?
No, she said no.
Eddie, let her answer, please.
Eddie,
Sorry.
Eddie, she needs to talk, Eddie.
Milagros, hello?
Yes.
What is your vote?
No.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, good night, guys.
29 yes,
Night.
1 opposed. Okay,
Thank you, Hannah.
thank you, guys.
Very
Good
nice
night.
meeting.